Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98 for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. President Donald Trump was at New York City's iconic Madison Square Garden last night, just 9 days before Election Day. It was a star-studded affair in the heart of Trump's home city. We have the details for you. Vice President Kamala Harris dodged a reporter's question yesterday about how her internal polls are shaping the final days of her campaign, stating that she relies on her instinct. And let me interpret that for you. She's losing, and she knows it. Michelle Obama told a crowd on the first day of early voting in Michigan that she's frustrated and a little angry at some of the things she's heard about why people are holding back on supporting Vice President Kamala Harris. Liberals have grown despondent after it emerged that Donald Trump's interview with Joe Rogan amassed a staggering 17 million YouTube views in less than 24 hours, and it continues to grow. Russia's at it again. A video of a man destroying Trump ballots in Pennsylvania has gone viral, but according to U.S. intelligence officials, it's a hoax made by Russia to interfere in our election.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
President Donald Trump was in New York City at the Madison Square Garden last night, just 9 days before Election Day. After being introduced by his wife, Melania Trump, musician Lee Greenwood sang God Bless the USA, which has become the theme song on these Trump rallies. Trump asked the crowd to be excited about the future of America again and to dream big, saying that this will be America's new golden age. He said our problem can be solved, but only if we do this.
Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands. Next Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've done a terrible job, that crooked Joe Biden has done a terrible job. You've destroyed our country. We're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. Get out. You're fired.
Madison Square Garden holds 19,500. It was sold out. It's home to the New York Knicks, the Rangers. And within hours, we're told, of this event being announced, 70,000 plus people requested tickets. It demonstrates the significant interest in Trump's campaign, even in a democratically controlled city like New York City. The rally featured an impressive lineup of speakers and guests. Elon Musk introduced Melania Trump. UFC CEO Dana White was there as well, along with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Rudy Giuliani, Tucker Carlson, Republican leaders like Speaker Mike Johnson, Representative Elise Stefanik. Trump's New York strategy, he believes he can win New York, or at least he has a chance. He expressed his intentions to, quote, make a play for New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Minnesota, New Mexico, some of the states that he's been told he can't win. He says that he will straighten out New York, and he focused on issues like crime and empowering law enforcement to do their jobs. At one point, he even sort of asked the crowd to go light on New York Mayor Eric Adams, saying he's having a hard time right now. Madison Square Garden is not new to politics, has actually a rich political history. It's hosted both Republican national conventions, last one being 2004. I happened to be there. It's when George W. Bush was nominated. No Republican presidential candidate has won New York, though, since Ronald Reagan did in his landslide victory in 1984. So the likelihood of Donald Trump being able to take New York, probably not too good. But don't tell him that, because he's going to try. After taking the stage, Trump asked the enthusiastic crowd of New Yorkers if they're better off today than they were 4 years ago.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much to a very popular former First Lady, hopefully First Lady again. And I just want to say a very big hello to a special place, New York, and to an incredible arena, Madison Square Garden. Incredible. And then we have all of the people that could fill it up 10 times. You take a look at outside what's going on all the way down to the river, the beautiful, beautiful Hudson River. They're outside watching this now at levels that nobody's ever seen before. They've never had it. And I want to thank Jim Dolan. He's been incredible. He's been just incredible. The job they've done. Thank you. But I'm thrilled to be back in the city I love, and thousands of proud, hard-working American patriots. You're with me. We're all together. We've always been together. And I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals coming into our country. And I will bring back the American dream. We need the American dream to come back home. Our country will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country.
And I believe that's what we're on the verge of doing right now, is making that decision, electing Donald Trump, sending him back to the White House to retake our country. It was quite interesting, though, to sit and watch the images and seeing the outside and the inside of Madison Square Garden. There's just something electric about that venue. Last time I was there was last fall when the Eagles kicked off their tour. I was able to see them there. And even though at today's standards, because there's a lot of arenas now that are much bigger and even nicer, more technically savvy, there's just something special about Madison Square Garden. It has been the venue for multiple Democrat conventions, like the 1924 convention. It's one of the longest and most contentious conventions in U.S. history. It lasted 16 days, required 103 ballots to nominate John Davis. You ever heard of John Davis? In 1976, Jimmy Carter was nominated there, ultimately leading to his presidential victory. 1980 convention, President Carter was renominated, though he would go on to lose to Ronald Reagan. 1992, Bill Clinton received a Democrat nomination there, launching his successful presidential campaign. As I mentioned, in 2004, the Republican National Convention was held there, nominating President George W. Bush. The Madison Square Garden event follows a number of successful rallies that Trump has had in New York. Earlier, out on Long Island, he saw over 60,000 tickets requested for a 16,000-seat venue. It just shows you the support that Donald Trump has among New Yorkers. Again, it's probably going to be tough for him to win the state. A Republican victory in New York is probably a long shot, but hey, you never know. If anybody can do it, Donald Trump can. In his closing statement last night, Trump made a very strong push to energize the turnout.
Look, we have 9 days from now, and we're going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we're going to win back the beautiful White House, and we're going to make America great again, and it's going to happen fast. Thank you. In less than 4 years, Kamala Harris has shattered our middle class. She cast the deciding votes that launched the worst inflation in the history of our country. She cost the typical American family over $3,000 in a short period, but over $30,000 over the last 3 years. She killed 50,000 manufacturing jobs this year alone. Now Kamala wants to raise the typical family taxes by nearly $3,000 a year and impose a 33% tax hike on all domestic production. If Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, our economy can never recover.
Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. This year, I really thought I was going to have to boycott the holidays. I was going to lock myself away and not come out until 2025. But after finding PhD weight loss, you can bet I'll be at every holiday party I'm invited to. That's because PhD weight loss helped me take control with great confidence, support, and my new healthy body. The best part? PhD weight loss did it all without harmful drugs that keep you dependent on them to maintain your weight loss. It's a natural, medication-free approach to weight loss crafted to naturally diminish food-related thoughts, hunger, and cravings, making your weight loss journey more sustainable and enjoyable. Take it from me, I lost 33 pounds. The PhD weight loss program teaches you not just what to eat and when, but also how to think differently about food and finally let go of those cravings and get rid of the hunger naturally. Don't lock yourself away this holiday season. Call PhD Weight Loss today at 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. Did you have a chance to listen or watch the Joe Rogan Donald Trump interview? Wow. Trump sat with Rogan for 3 full hours discussing topics ranging from UFOs, the alleged impact of wind turbines on mental health of whales, to Trump's regrets in office, and his claim that the 2020 election was stolen through widespread voter fraud. Now, Kamala Harris has been invited to do likewise, and so far has declined, because Kamala Harris couldn't talk about anything for 3 hours. Can you imagine how intimidated she probably is right now, knowing that she probably should do the Rogan interview, but knowing she's not capable of doing the Rogan interview? She couldn't sit there for 3 hours, even with Joe Rogan asking the questions, and he's a great interviewer. Rogan makes it easy for you. She wouldn't do it. She can't do it. The Joe Rogan Experience is the most watched podcast in the entire world. It has 14.5 million Spotify followers, 17.5 million YouTube subscribers. Although Spotify and Apple Podcasts do not release viewership data for individual episodes, the YouTube views suggest it's one of the biggest episodes in the show's history and reached more viewers than any other podcast so far during the campaign. And again, that really intimidates Kamala Harris. Trump's appearance is already the most viewed podcast appearance so far by either candidate in the 2024 presidential campaign, and among the highest viewed Joe Rogan Experience episodes in the history of Joe Rogan's show. According to Rogan fan website JRE Library, across the podcast's 15-year history, more than 2,000 episode long history, the 10 most watched episodes were between 27 million times and 68 million times on YouTube. So the Trump interview falls somewhere outside that range in its first 24 hours, but it's gaining by the minute. And keep in mind now, when they talk about 68 million, some of those episodes have been on there for years and have had years to gain. We're talking about what the number of people who've watched this in just 24 hours. In the podcast, Trump praised Rogan, calling him a fascinating guy, while the host did likewise. He praised Trump's candid sense of humor. He said, one of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball, telling the former president he thought his impression mocking President Joe Biden was funny stuff. Rogan said that he would be interested in doing an interview with Democrat presidential candidate Kamala Harris, but her campaign has since confirmed that she will not join him on the show before Election Day. I told you, right? Now, liberals have just grown despondent after it emerged that Trump's interview with Rogan has amassed the staggering views that it has. Again, I mean, think about this. What did I say? Let's see, 17 million views in less than 24 hours. And that's just YouTube. We don't know how many people listened to it on Spotify or watched it on Spotify. And again, they covered a wide range of topics. I mean, when they started talking about UFOs, they talked about the John F. Kennedy assassination files. Of course, the border came up a few times. Healthy food. As soon as the episode was released, which was just after 10 p.m. Eastern time on Friday night, they taped this on Friday afternoon. Viewing figures skyrocketed with 300,000 in the first 30 minutes. By comparison, Kamala Harris's appearance on the Call Her Daddy podcast, you know how they made such a big deal out of that a few weeks ago when Kamala appeared with this Alex Cooper and Call Her Daddy podcast? It has 685,000 views in 2 weeks. 685 in 2 weeks. Trump got 300,000 in the first 30 minutes. Wow. But we know why Kamala Harris is not going to sit down with Joe Rogan, don't we? I mean, liberals are just standing on their heads. Since details of Trump's ratings emerged, some liberals have begun urging Kamala to sit down with the popular podcast host. For example, one person wrote on X, "I'm devil's advocate, sure, but Kamala Harris has to go on Joe Rogan. She has to now." Another said, "You have to be a president for all people. Donald Trump is currently polling up from the Joe Rogan podcast. Get on Joe Rogan, please, Kamala Harris. Show them all what an adult candidate for president looks like and sounds like." Another person said, "He's probably going to have over 30 million views on the Joe Rogan podcast before the end of the night." You weren't far off there. Another said, "Go on Joe Rogan's podcast. Biggest podcast audience out there, and Trump looked and sounded ridiculous last night." Well, maybe so, but he did so in front of millions of people watching him. Another said, "Rogan is pretty fair and level-headed. It would be a good look. Hillary made a mistake by not going on with Stern in 2016. She admitted that herself. Do it," in all capital letters. Both candidates' podcast appearances are part of a strategy, of course. They're trying to get or use non-traditional media to reach some of those demographics that they're not able to reach otherwise. Kamala Harris's appearance on Call Her Daddy reached the younger females who listen to that. There's some fears among Democrats that Trump has pulled this off much more successfully than his adversary. By appearing on Rogan's podcast, Trump was able to appeal to the 81% male listenership, of whom a majority are under 35. Now, of course, the challenge is to get them to vote, to get them to turn out. But still, Donald Trump probably had more young males listening to him over the weekend than he's ever had. Probably more young males than any Republican presidential candidate has had ever anyway. This is a demographic that Kamala Harris is struggling with. And boy, she may have just lost it with this. A USA Today Suffolk University poll placed Trump leading among men 53% to 37%, while Harris's lead with women is 53 to 36, almost identical. I think Trump solidified his position among younger male voters. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Email's always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself, if you're looking for a new appliance, to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. One more thing on the Rogan interview, really, you owe it to yourself to listen to parts of it. Or go to some of your favorite news sites where they have highlighted certain key segments of it, because it's classic and you need to hear it. And again, because of the length of it and the in-depth discussion that's involved, it's why Kamala Harris will never do it. She won't even answer a reporter's question. She did it again over the weekend when she dodged a reporter's question yesterday about how her internal polls are shaping the final days of her campaign. She said that she relies on her instinct, trying to convince us that she doesn't pay any attention to polls. Since the start of her campaign at the Democrat National Convention, when she officially became the Democrat nominee, Kamala Harris has faced criticism for her vague responses, particularly regarding her past support of some of the more left-wing policies which she's trying to distance herself from now. While speaking to a pool of reporters in Philadelphia, she was asked if she could provide insight into the internal polling and how it's influencing her decisions in these final days of the campaign. Here's her response.
Madam Vice President, can you give us a sense of your internal polling at the campaign and how that is making or influencing your decisions on what to do over the next 9 days?
So, to be very frank with you, my internal polling is my instinct. I let the campaign people deal with all that other stuff. And I am responding to what I'm seeing. I mean, just 2 nights ago, we had 30,000 people show up. I think it was actually more than 30,000 people, with an incredible amount of enthusiasm. If you see the people who are showing up last night, every event that we do, and the feeling is one of energy and excitement. What I love about the folks who are showing up is it's every walk of who we are as a country and as Americans, every race, age, gender, from all different kinds of backgrounds together under one roof. It's very exciting. The number of young people, I've begun to really point out the first-time voters who are there, is now people are actually registered, and it's very exciting, and the momentum is with us.
Do you need to win Pennsylvania to win this?
Have you ever noticed how she always starts her answer by something like, well, I'm going to be very frank with you, or I want to be very clear with you, or honestly, because she knows that people don't believe a word she says. She knows that people are always questioning whether or not she's truthful because she's untruthful so often. Over the past month, Democrat powers that be have reportedly grown increasingly concerned about Harris's polling. Pundits warning that she's been slipping among key voting blocks, particularly black and Hispanic men. We know that she recognizes that she's losing black men because of some of the places she's gone, some of the things that she said, and some of the surrogates who are out on the campaign trail for her, like former President Barack Obama. We're going to hear from Michelle Obama in a minute because she's out on the campaign trail as well. Harris has tried to appeal to these groups by black men, for example. Some of the policy programs that she announced last week aiming, targeting black male. But I think they're smart enough to understand that she's just doing this because she needs their vote. She's pandering to them. And I'm not sure they like being pandered to. Her campaign has repeatedly made efforts to win back Hispanics by using various surrogates there as well. I think her strongest, the strongest actions that she took that suggests she knows she's losing black men was the urgency that President Barack Obama seems to have out on the campaign trail, as he somewhat is chastising black men for not being enthusiastic about Kamala Harris. And despite these efforts, despite Barack Obama and others out on the campaign trail telling them that they need to not be ashamed of voting for Kamala Harris, Donald Trump continues to gain in those polls. The Real Clear Politics polling averages shows that the former president leads nationally by like 0.1% now. So enter Michelle Obama on the campaign trail. Now, we've been warned that she was going to be out there. We just didn't know when. Well, she made that grand entrance in Kalamazoo at an event center there at a Harris campaign rally over the weekend. And on the first day of early voting for Michigan, she confessed that she is frustrated and a little angry, she said, at some of the things that she's heard about why people are holding back on their support for her good friend Kamala Harris. Now, I never knew they were such great friends, but according to her, they're best buds. Speaking directly about the gender divide that polls are showing, Obama railed against, quote, the lie that we do not know who Kamala is or what she stands for, saying too many voters are shrugging off former President Donald Trump's character and his track record on a wide range of issues. Now, when she stood there and talked about how frustrated she is that people are saying we don't know who Kamala Harris is, that's a true statement. Because, she's been vice president for 3.5 years, but she has largely been in hiding. Joe Biden only lets her out in places that he wants her to be out. We don't know who Kamala Harris is present day as a presidential candidate. Why? Because she didn't go through the nominating process. We didn't see her out there in debates during a primary because she was crowned the party nominee when they pushed Joe Biden out. Polls show that the race is extremely tight in swing states like Michigan, where Michelle Obama was. So that's why you've had Barack Obama and now Michelle Obama out there urging and trying to shore up enthusiasm for Harris among the black men, the young voters, and some of the other parts of the Democrat base that she's losing. The former First Lady, in her first appearance on the campaign trail with Harris, hit hard. What she told the crowd were Donald Trump's weaknesses and reasons he's not deserving of another term.
I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse. All of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all. So, I am praying that those of us contemplating voting for Trump or not voting at all will snap out of whatever fog we are in. I am praying that we consider the decades of sacrifice and struggle by all of our ancestors, the folks who marched and sacrificed and shed their blood for us. We have to ask ourselves, is a vote for Trump or no vote at all the way we honor their lives? And if that's the case, well, that surely doesn't sound like freedom to me. Because let me tell you, in any other profession or arena, Trump's criminal track record and amoral character would be embarrassing, shameful, and disqualifying.
Now, talk about being frustrated and angry. I get frustrated and angry when I hear people like that talking about Kamala Harris and talking about Donald Trump and comparing the two as if there is a comparison. Obviously, Michelle Obama doesn't know Kamala Harris as well as she says she does. If she did, she would recognize that Kamala Harris is not qualified to hold the office that her husband held for 8 years. Obama described Harris as a grown-up with a clear set of policies. Well, where are these policies, and why is she not out there talking about them? Michelle Obama said too many people are willing to write off Trump's childish, mean-spirited antics by saying, well, Trump's just being Trump. Well, quite often that's the truth, because Trump will be Trump. Harris focused much of her remarks over the weekend on abortion restrictions. She had made a stop at a local doctor's office in Kalamazoo before the rally and talked to providers and medical students about concerns Trump would expand abortion restrictions nationally should he win, even though he has said over and over again that he will not. Kamala Harris spent, in fact, the entire weekend, she was in Houston as well, in Texas, in a state she has no chance of winning. In fact, Donald Trump has a better chance of winning New York than Kamala Harris would ever win Texas. But she's in Houston and Kalamazoo talking about abortion because she's trying her best to make abortion a central issue in this campaign because it's the only issue that she is leading in the polls. You look at all the other issues, immigration, the economy, every single poll has Donald Trump as being a more trusted candidate when it comes to those issues. When it comes to abortion, of course, people trust Kamala Harris more because they know that she wants women to be aborting their babies again. At one point, Harris spoke specifically to men in her remarks, emphasizing that further restrictions on abortion and other aspects of women's health care would impact them and their sons too, and how anyone could even consider voting for this lady knowing that she wants to continue to kill babies. Yet this same candidate stood in front of a church on Sunday trying to convince them that God had personally chosen her, that she was God's choice to be the next president. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. On our text line, Jerry writes, apparently Trump said anyone here illegally would be sentenced to 10 years without parole. If that law can be passed, there may be a voluntary mass exodus, which is also a low-cost solution. I think Jerry is responding to our conversation on Friday, talking about the deportation and who would pay for it. Some of you were asking that question. Texter says, I don't think it matters about celebrity endorsements. However, the major difference between the celebrity supporting Trump and those at Kamala Harris's rallies and venues is that they're speaking out for her. The majority of Harris's supporters are paid to be there. Those who are speaking out for Trump aren't doing a paid endorsement. They're there because they support Donald Trump. That's a good point. Thank you for sending that in because, there's some of those A-rated stars who are being paid to be there for Kamala Harris. When you see people like Lee Greenwood and Elon Musk and some of those who are at Trump rallies, they're there because they love America, because they love our country. Texter says, you are insulting Nana Hudson because you're insulting dirt, and Nana Hudson knows the value of dirt. It grows things beneficial to us and isn't dumb. Now, this is in reference to last week one day. I called Kamala Harris dumb. And I said that Nana Hudson would be disappointed if I called someone dumb because she taught me not to talk about people like that, even if they are dumb. Texter says, I think cackling Cammie chose to destroy her brain. It just seems like she's always whacked out on some kind of drugs or something. Eyes glazed over, cackling like an idiot all the time. She's not even qualified to work at a fast food restaurant. At least it takes a brain to do that, and she doesn't have one. On the MyPillow message line, Faye had this to say.
Good morning, Joey. This is Faye. I just listened to a program on Real America's Voice, and there was a political scientist who was a part of a group, and they've been studying the elections across the country, and according to what he was saying this morning, these different states are using an algorithm that has been provided by some possible foreign entity. And this algorithm is very, very complicated, and it's evidently been produced by someone who's extremely smart. But in the voting, when voting takes place or on election day, and they start to count the ballots, when Kamala drops, then these algorithms are going to kick in. They're going to produce ballots. They're going to clone ballots. They're going to produce new people. And according to him, it doesn't matter how often we think Trump is going to win, that these algorithms are going to determine our new president. And according to this gentleman, it won't be Donald Trump. He's suggesting that we contact the Attorney General of our state and try to get them to see what's taking place, and so they can check our rolls in South Carolina, check to see if we have any algorithms in our system. This is very upsetting to me, Joey, just very upsetting. Thanks for your program and all that you do, because you do, Joey, tell the truth.
Well, yes, Faye, that is what we do try to do here, is tell the truth. I don't know about this whole algorithm thing and voting machines. I mean, I would think that could only work for machines that are connected via the internet, and ours in South Carolina are not. So I feel pretty certain about ours here in South Carolina. Appreciate your message there. Hey, you can leave a message as well. Just call 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Leave a quick voice message. Always remember to use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com, and you could save big bucks on everything you order. For example, you can get the standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, just $14.88 when you use promo code Joey. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-928-6034. Use promo code Joey and get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. You can only order 10 at a time, so go ahead and order those. They're great Christmas gifts, and now is a good time to go ahead and start getting your Christmas shopping done. Also, one other quick thing. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right, 60-day money-back guarantee. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March the 1st of 2025. So if you don't like it, you have until next March to return it. But I know you're not going to be doing that because you're going to love all the products. MyPillow.com, use promo code Joey. Jennifer writes on the text line, hey, Joey, every time I text you, the first thing that pops into my head is the thank you once again for being an American patriot, using your platforms to encourage people to vote for Trump. You're doing your part to save the country. Well, thank you, Jennifer. She says, regarding celebrity endorsement, I cannot think of a time that anyone's endorsement has influenced me in the least. But I think that when we see and hear celebrity endorsement for Trump from Mel Gibson and Dennis Quaid and the wonderful John Voight, and know that they stand for American conservatism and still work in their Hollywood-based careers, that's encouraging. Celebrities on the left usually let us down, and they often become less interesting to us. But this is America, and I support free speech. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate your text messages. Yours is welcome as well. And keep those emails coming to joey@joeyhudson.com. Have you heard the story about the viral video that appears to show mail-in ballots being destroyed in a Pennsylvania suburb? Well, as it turns out, according to U.S. intelligence officials, this video is a deception, and it's part of Russia's campaign to help Donald Trump's presidential campaign, according to a senior official and USA Today. The video shows a stack of sealed mailed ballot envelopes on a table as an unidentified man opens them, tearing up the ballots cast for Trump and returning the ones for Vice President Kamala Harris. U.S. officials say, not true. Don't believe it. This is Russia's attempt at interfering in our election. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.